Guys, hope you're doing well. You're having a lovely day, another sunny day again in the UK. It seems like every time I do a video it's sunny, which is amazing. Yeah, this weather's awesome. And it's going to be like this all week. Today I wanted to talk about inner peace or spirituality. There's lots of different words to describe it. Um, Loads of my clients lately and other people I've spoken to have had a little taste of what I'm talking about all the time. So they felt some peace, they felt this joy, this interconnectedness with everything, with the world, the universe, in some way, shape, or form. So it could be, for example, for you, it could be maybe when you've been somewhere in nature, which is just beautiful. So somewhere with huge mountains or somewhere by the sea, or some national park. For example, in America, there are really amazing national parks. They're like mind blowing national parks. And it's funny, I just used the word mind blowing there because that's kind of what it is. It blows away your conceptual thinking. So you're not actually thinking at that time, you're just taking the view and it just stops your mind. And that's when you feel really at peace and like in awe of beauty. So that's just a couple of examples. It's just funny, I didn't even plan to use the word mind blowing there, but that's basically what it is. It blows your conceptual mind. But other times you might have experienced it would be when you're at a concert, for example. So all you can hear is the music and then other people dancing, so the energy there is really positive, and you can just all you're completely in that moment at the concert. So you're just like dancing, and then you're in the moment, and again you're not thinking. So there's that, or dancing. So there's loads of people on my profile that also dance like me. So whatever dance that is, bachata, salsa, kizomba, urban. There you've got the music playing. You're with a partner, and then there's you. So the three things that generally should be on your attention in your attention. So you, your partner, the music, and then there's no space for thought in there, conceptual thought. If you try to think whilst you're dancing about what you're doing, like where do I move my arm now? Where do I move my leg now? It's not going to work. So your mind has to be off. Your conceptual mind just switches off, and that's why so many people love dancing, and so many people get addicted to dancing because it's the only time they have a break from their mind. So that's another one. Others are when you're with babies, for example, or small children. So their conceptual mind is basically not really there at that time. So what's happening is when you're interacting with those babies or young children, because they're completely in the moment, it rubs off on you. So you also feel like that. So you might feel joy and peace, and you're kind of forced into the present moment more as well because they are already there. So that kind of that energy reflects into you. So that's another time. It could also be at night. So maybe you've looked at the night, been outside somewhere where there's not much other light, and you see the stars and the moon, and you just feel that sense of like peace and connectedness and awe and wonder. Um, and at that time, you might have just, just really felt like that and felt something quite special. Other things could be, for example, sex. So again, you shouldn't be thinking too much during sex. Ideally, you should be in the moment. You should be with your partner, and your attention should be in the present. And again, it's all about sense perception, so touch and things like that. So again, your conceptual mind is switched off, and there you might feel really connected and really like good sex should be where you feel really connected to the person you're with, and you might again feel that kind of sense of like satisfaction, like the peace and beauty, and all the good things in life, really. So those are just some examples. There's lots of others, but I just gave a list of times where you might have, if you think about your life, where you felt that sense of just right, just feeling good, just feeling at home with yourself, and just feeling just like life is wonderful. And I remember with me before this awakening happened, it was always when I used to go traveling and go to national parks, and I love hiking, I love the outdoors, and I went to loads of national parks in the States, which are just absolutely incredible, like the beauty there and the difference in all the different national parks as well. You have huge mountain ranges, and you have huge waterfalls, and then some places that look just like Mars, and obviously the Grand Canyon, and Florida, and the swamps around Louisiana, and like it's just beautiful. Like the whole country, the natural beauty in that huge country is just incredible. And I used to always feel it there. And I also went to Hawaii, like I won a trip to Hawaii, which was amazing. And there I remember going trekking up this mountain and then just looking at the view below. And it was just so beautiful, and I just felt so at peace and so at one with like the world and the universe. And it was just like whoa. And I just thought, and I felt like that a lot in Hawaii because I think the nature is just the scenery is just so beautiful for one, but also really different to anywhere else I've been. So when you go somewhere novel, you're more in your sense perception mode, less in the thinking mode. So I felt it like all the time there. And I remember on the plane back from Hawaii, I just thought like it feels like home there. I feel like I need to move there because it felt like home. And it's funny again. I use the word home. It feels like home. So why is that kind of interesting? It's because that state of peace and awe and wonder and beauty is actually our natural state. It's like the only thing that gets in the way of that is our thinking. So we all have this state of just attention, awareness, consciousness, stillness, all the same, pointing to the same thing of just nothing. And then we just get but sadly, as humans, where we are in our state of evolution at the moment is we have this layer of thought as well. So we have this mind chat going on all the time. And because we so identified it with it and we believe that we're it, then we don't actually notice who we are at our core. We're just stuck in this layer of thinking. So it's like here we are, and then here's a thought, and we're just in this zone and this thought zone all the time, and that stops us from experiencing this joy and this peace. That's our natural state. So, so how do we reconnect with that? And is it just because, for example, with Hawaii, and I felt like I was as I said, like I was at home, which is our natural state. I just thought I need to move to Hawaii at the time. I mean, it is beautiful, like it's the most beautiful place I've ever been, for sure. But does it mean I need to move there? No, because actually later when I had an awakening, I realised like why that place did feel like home so much and why I just loved it. It's because it took me out of thought, and that's the key, and that's what we can all experience wherever we are. So even for now, for people watching or people that watch the later recording of this, just try it now. Okay, so at the moment, hopefully just your attention is on me and you're just watching me, and we can all have a time of no thought. So here we are now, and I'm just going to pause in a minute and move my hands like this, and then here I want you to try and stay focused on the attention, like focused on me, what I'm doing. So here we are now, and here's no thought. And stop. So hopefully there, I was not thinking in that break, and hopefully you weren't thinking in that break as well. So if you just do this yourself, you can even use your hands like that. You'll notice that when I'm here and we're not thinking, you don't know anything about yourself conceptually at that time. You don't know your name, you don't know your job, you don't know your relationship status, you don't know any traits that you have, you know nothing. And all you know is actually that you are that state. You still know that you are there, you still exist in that time, you haven't disappeared. What has disappeared is the layer of thought that tells you, who you are in this kind of one level of what I call the horizontal level, which is your job or your relationship status, your friendships, etc., like that. But actually, you can be. Oh, thanks, James, for the comment. But actually, what was I saying? Yes. So when you're actually here, you don't know anything conceptually about yourself, but you do know that actually you exist. And that's all about what I teach people is stillness. It's to live from this place where you don't always have to be trapped in conceptual thinking all the time. You can actually just be present. So I invite you to try this, because this is the same as so how I experience myself when I do this and I'm not thinking is exactly how you experience yourself when you're not thinking. So that means that everyone is ultimately the same are the same. That's this awareness, this attention, this consciousness, this stillness, whatever word you want to use. That's who you are. And then you just have this layer of thought on top, which is different to other people. So that's all dependent on your conditioning. So where did you grow up? What did your parents teach you? What did your teachers teach you? What did the surrounding culture teach you? That's all heavily influenced, and that creates who you think you are, but it's not. So if you just throw that out the window, and then you're left with this, you're the same as everyone else. And imagine if everyone knew that. Do you think there would be hatred? There wouldn't, because you'd fully understand that people, if everyone was aware that this is who they are, then it would be a completely different world, completely different, because there wouldn't, everyone would know that everyone else is also this, and not this thought layer, which might be different. They're this. So why would you ever want to attack someone that's the same as you, which is ultimately kind of you, which is you? You wouldn't. So imagine the change in the world that we'd see if everyone did this. It would be so huge. And actually more and more people now are noticing that really they're finding out who they really are, which is not all the thought and the stuff goes around the head. It's actually this space of awareness. And then you use thinking as a tool. So it would change the world. So hence why I feel quite like I want to tell people about this, because it would literally change everything about us as humans and how we treat other people, how we treat animals, how we treat the planet, how we treat the environment. It's absolutely massive. It really, really is. So I want to just leave you again with one more of these no thought times, and just see if you can just extend it. So when I stop the video, just see if you can carry on for a little bit more with no thought and realize that is who you are. Okay, so starting now.